All right, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Margaret and I'm with RBI, and I'm going to be providing the webinar today on how to use rbiEXPERT for your social media campaigns. One of the great features of our product is its portability and ease of use to be able to get things out to other sites, to be able to use it in networking, whether that's through an e-newsletter, through social media sites like Facebook or Twitter, or through your website. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to use the statistics tab. This is where we're going to spend most of our time, but we're also going to cover the videos, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the blog in order to add to your repertoire of information that you can give out to your clients and customers. So as I sit here, I have the Mid-Atlantic area that is showing by default, and this is what you get, and you're able to use all the different functionality here as usual. With the rbiEXPERT product, though, you can use the gauges as well as the interactive charts in the Explore tab at the other geographic levels. So for today's presentation, I'm going to use Washington, D.C. as my example to be able to provide some information to you. So by looking at this information, we have our gauges here that tell you your 5-year history. I have my 5-year history associated here, seasonal. So I'm looking at the December 2013 data. The leftmost point is the minimum value for the last 5 Decembers, and the maximum value is the rightmost point. The colored is the average of the last 5 Decembers, and the needle's location is the current month, December 2013. So each of these gauges will give you a quick idea of what's going on in the market, and you can embed these onto websites. I'll come back to these in a little bit, but one thing I want to point out, these are fairly new, so a lot of people don't know they're here. We added them back in October. In addition to the ones on market activity right here that you see, if you click on this right arrow over here, it'll also scroll over and give you gauges for a median and average sale price, the sale and original list price ratio, as well as days on market, both average and median. All right, so we take all these gauges, and they'll give you a great idea as well. Obviously, our summary and our snapshot, I'm going to assume that you've hit our site for the most part, and I'm kind of concentrating on things for social media, but I do want to point out that this is where you can get some information and ideas as to what to use for your social media. Obviously, if you're seeing huge increases in year over year or month over month, or maybe decreases, because remember, days on market negatives are good, because that means the days on market are going down. So you don't always look at it just for positives. A negative sign here in days on market is actually good to look at. And then also just to look at your snapshot to get an idea of what's going on. The other thing that I strongly recommend that you do is use the Explore tab here. This is fairly new. If you haven't been to the site in a while, we had this with the maps, and we changed it so we have the dashboard now with the dashboard gauges, and then we took this data, the table data, down here in the Explore tab. And there's 6 different metrics over here: median sold price, days on market, sold to original list price ratio, number of sales, new pendings, and new listings. You can use any one of these to be able to look a little bit more granular. So I'm looking at this and I go, well, gee, the median sold price for DC, all of DC, it's $479,000, but that's not necessarily true for every area. I can see here that Georgetown at 20007 is $970,000. So to be able to find ideas for your social media, this might be a way to be able to do it. And then you can get a little bit more granular. You could click on the links, hyperlinks over here of any one of the zip codes to go to the information for that. You can click on the headers here to be able to sort. You can also choose the change from last year as well as the change from this last month. The last year, December versus December, and then November versus December. So seasonal change year over year and month over month change to be able to show you the different. You might want to look for who's the bigger mover and shaker in that aspect. You got a couple of people here who are well over 20%, so maybe highlight in a blog or a social media article that you have, and you want to highlight maybe these 5 or 6 different zip codes to work with them. Right, so there's a lot of information here with days on market as well. What's the quicker areas, what's hot and what's not. We have various areas here that are well under 20 days as well as under 30 days, so you might want to highlight those as well. Sold to original list price ratio, I love this one because how hot can it be if the market is showing over 100% of our original list price? And remember, original list price is when the listing first went into Keystone on day 1. Even if the listing had 5 price reductions, it's going to go back to that original list price to get this ratio. So we have that information there to be able to show it. Also, but realize that some of these might be due to the price range. I look down here and toward the bottom I have the Georgetown zip code 20007 here, and they're at 96%. Well, that's because they have the highest price homes in the $900,000 range. There's more wiggle room. So when you look at these, make sure you might need to look at more than one to see where the stories truly are, but this gives you a good way to come in and look for things and some ideas on what to use. Then once you know what you want to do, then you can go ahead and play with that either at the zip code level or maybe stay here at the county level to work with the information that's given to you by our product. I'm going to work with the different charts to be able to show you what's going on. Here we have the market activity, and this shows you your solds, shows you the new pendings, all pendings, new listings, and active listings. And a couple of things that I do want to recommend is if you're showing trends, that tends to be when you want to use your line chart. All right, and I can use 5 years to be able to show what's going on. You can see here on this blue, the brown line is the active listings. You can see how inventory has dropped considerably over the last 5 years. You can hover over any of the data points. I show this because if I want to show a trend, I tend to use a line chart. Also, if I have a lot of different options over here, if you're working with your customers, they can see the different data points and hover over them. If I use the bar chart and I use 5 years, it almost becomes unreadable. I can see a little bit of that, and it becomes very hard for me to understand what I'm hovering over. So choose your bar chart and your line chart accordingly. If you're not interested in trends, you could go all the way down to 3 years and just show the 3 months and just show the information here, and that allows your clients and customers to be able to hover over the different data points, and you have a nice colorful chart. So there's going to be times when you're going to want to do one versus the other. All right, so once you figure that out, you can also use the list view. If somebody wants the pure numbers, you can also work with it from that standpoint. But most social media or marketing campaigns that you're going to have, you're going to want some sort of colorful and impact here. So I'm going to come back to my 1 year, and I'm going to take off a couple of these different items and switch back to a line view. And so here's an idea of a chart that you could use with your clients and customers. Talk to them about the months of inventory that are in the system. Here's closed sales at almost 700, and I've got active listings of 1,000 in the system. So I don't even have 2 months worth of active inventory. So if you want to talk to people about the hotness of the market, for this area, this is where you can say, well, gee, we have less than 2 months worth of inventory. We need your home if you're thinking about listing it. This is how you can work with your clients and customers to give them that information. You can also tell them the difference between maybe a buyer's and a seller's market. Right now, we definitely have a little bit more of a seller's market because of that lack of inventory, whereas if you look at 5 years ago, there was over 3,000 listings here and only a couple of 300 selling. We had 10 months worth of inventory back here. That's why things were moving much slower and tended to be a little bit more toward a buyer's market, being able to give good offers and things like that. So you could use combinations of items here to be able to show what's going on. Also just the number of new listings that are coming in the market. You can see here we had a couple of times where the new listings were actually lower than the number of sales. So that means more listings left the system than came in. So depending upon where you are, and usually this time of the year, January, from December to January, is when we have these little valleys. So this is a great idea to talk about right now in the fact that the new listings are decreasing. I can turn my active listings off in order to show that a little bit more prominently. I have my new listings below the number of sales to show you that not much is coming on the market, but then obviously things ramp up during the spring market. So when you have to explain that to people as to how the listings all come in during the spring and then they start to decrease afterwards, that explains things to both your buyers and your sellers accordingly. So those are just a couple of ideas of how you can use the market activity to show your clients and customers what to do with from a social media standpoint. I'm going to show you a few more things here with median sold price. I can maybe use detached, townhouse, condo, co-op, and show people their buying value. So I'm not necessarily worried about the trend here because I just want to show them what the houses are worth. So I'm going to switch to that 3 months. 3 months looks a little silly with a line chart, so I'm going to switch to bar view to be more impactful. And this is how I'm going to show you about the portability. I could have done it with this chart up here, but I'm just going to show you how to do it down here. We have a couple of different options to be able to get the information out easily and quickly. The share option gets you out to your social media. So click on share, and in 3 clicks I can get it out. There's over 200 sites for social media. I don't even know what half of these are. Some of them are LinkedIn, Google+, Facebook, Twitter, obviously the ones that you're more familiar with, but there's a lot there that if you want to go take a look, you're welcome to. Because Facebook and Twitter are the most common, we have the icons sitting out here for you for easy use though. So I have this chart here. This is what I'm going to send to my clients and customers. I'm going to use the Facebook icon. And what happens is it brings up an interface with Facebook. If you notice, my URL in here is Facebook. This is not the RBI site anymore. You can see it's all showing Facebook information. So it's going to put this chart out here. And so what I can say is maybe here's your buying power by home type. Oops, you need to know how to type for DC. And you might want to pose a question or anything like that with your social media campaign to get interaction from your clients and customers. So that I came in, I clicked on share, clicked on Facebook. My third click here is share link, and I'm all done. I'm already out there. My stuff is out on Facebook. I'll show you how that shows up. So I'm going to come over to my Facebook page, and it automatically brings the information in here. Here's a small little chart. So what you might want to do is tell them that they can click on the link to get a larger chart. So I'm going to click on this link to show you what your clients and customers see. Comes back to this page here. They can hover over the different data points that we had in the chart, tells them the actual values, and then the change from last year. So you can see the detached towns actually went down by a very small amount, and then townhouses went up, and so did condo co-ops. So they can see that information there. Say they weren't interested in a condo co-op, they can actually click on the legend here to turn that item off. So from that standpoint, when you're sharing stuff, you might want to tell people that there's interaction. Tell them to hover over the data points, tell them to click on the link, and tell them to click on items in the legend if you want. So that's a great way to be able to show people what the information is. In 3 clicks, I had that information out. So maybe it's a different way. You don't want to show it by home type, but maybe just by number of bedrooms. Person wants to know what they can afford in a particular area. You can show them all the different bedrooms. I'm going to take off the all option. And again, here's an option where they can see how the pricing is going to go up, 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 and they can hover over the different data points. So again, from a social media standpoint, I can click on share. I can take this item out, use the Facebook icon, fill in the information here, and like I said, with Facebook, I can change it so that remind them to click or hover over the different data points. Facebook also gives you these couple of options here. I posted it to my whole timeline, but if you just wanted to give it to one person or share it to a group, so if you have a group already set up for your buyers and your sellers, you might just want to give it to them, and then send in a private message as well. So you have a couple of different options here. These 4 options are Facebook options, because remember what I said, this is Facebook's interface. So if there's a 5th option or they take one of these away, that's because Facebook did it, not us. Okay? And again, all you would have to do is share the information with a link here. So again, you could do buying power for DC, enter the information, and click on share link. So the information is super, super easy to be able to share. So I just showed you 2 examples of charts that you could use, and I'm showing this to you for Washington, D.C. MRIS has 60 counties and about 1,000 zip codes. So if you don't already have a social media campaign, our product can be your social media campaign because it's so easy to get this information out into your customers. And one thing I do want to recommend is that you don't post 50 charts to your site every day, because then you'll just be known as the chart person, and it won't have a good connotation associated with it. You want to give them something that's meaningful, get them used to it. Maybe every Monday you post a chart, then that way you get them used to the fact that every Monday something shows up, and then they get involved with being able to see the information. So I just did this by bedroom, but I could do maybe the same thing by bathroom to show people what the value of their homes might be. Everybody wants to know what the value of their home is or what the value of other people's homes are. So that's why working with median sold price, you can show that information. If you prefer average sold price, you can switch to that. So it's one or the other, either way you want to go. So maybe you want to show ROI for finishing off that bathroom in the basement. You could post this chart out and you'd be able to show them the information and show them the value that would occur with their home based upon that. All right, so there's a lot of different ways to be able to show the information. I'm showing the DC information closer into the city and in the city itself. Square footage is definitely more appropriate. So you could actually come in here and again use this chart to be able to show the values of the homes based upon square footage instead, so that people can see what they can afford and their buying power. Or just from a selling standpoint, if they're about to sell and the house across the street has more square footage than them, these are also great for your listing presentations. But again, for social media, these are great to be able to share with people, to be able to get them talking about different things. So I showed some of the information here by bedrooms and baths. Also bank mediated. People want to know what the health of the market is from that standpoint, and there's a great way to be able to show maybe the foreclosures, the short sales, and the non-bank mediateds. I'm going to go back to a line chart to be able to show these, so that you can see here the median sold price for non-bank mediated properties is up here, and the foreclosures and short sales are down here. So when people want to know what the difference is between some of the housing activity, you might want to show this. Now, every area is not like this. There's some areas when I give these webinars where the lines are very, very close together. So it just depends upon the health of your area, but that gives you a talking point. So in DC, they're a little further apart, but maybe another jurisdiction or another zip code, they're closer together, so you want to be able to have that information. All right, so you can have these so that you can work with these from a social media standpoint. But the other thing is you can have these so that you can embed them on your website. So there's other ways to be able to use the information. Let me go ahead and clear this out, and I'm going to show you how to compare to past. So maybe somebody wants to be able to look at the appreciation value of their home. You can do this with any of the charts I just did, but I'm going to look at 5-year appreciation. So here's 5 years ago, 375, and here's current for 479. Maybe I want to put this out on my website. Instead of share, which is purely for social media, I can use embed, which is purely for websites and blogs. So I'm going to click on this embed option. What happens is I bring up this option here, this screen, and it gives me the auto update version. And what happens is this is awesome because I can post this on my website, and because I use the auto update option, I don't have to do it again. When January, February, March, April, May are posted, the chart will automatically update for you. So even though there's a little bit of work involved to get this out there, once you have it, it's that set it and forget it mentality. It's a corny infomercial, but I love it because it truly is what you do. You're going to set it up, and then you're going to forget about it. So what happens is you can choose the different size. I can show you small here, but we're going to look at large. Right? And here's the HTML, and you can't screw up it. You just click on it and it grabs all of it. We made it so that you can't grab partial. I right click and use the copy function here to grab that HTML. And I'm going to show you how to put it on a website. It's super easy. You don't have to be a webmaster how to do it, but if you do have your website, like I said, you're going to know how to do it. So here's a couple of different charts that I set up previously with the DC Metro median sale price. And I did a couple of different things here. I showed a 5-year trend of the sales price, but you can see all these bumps, and sometimes your consumer doesn't know, like this low here, they were like, wow, are things getting bad? It's hard to tell, but what happened was I then did exactly the same chart, but did a year-over-year comparison for seasonality so that they can see, oh yeah, it truly is an increase because of seasonality, because of the spring market versus the winter market. If it's too cluttered, they're going to be able to click options on and off so that they can turn things on and off on their website to be able to grab whatever they want. So you have different options here to be able to work with it. So I'm going to show you how to put this chart in. I have this chart and a whole bunch of different charts on here as examples, and I'll go through some of them so that you can see what happens. But I'm going to add it down here below my informational thing on how to read a market gauge. So I'm going to come to my administration tab, and everybody has this. You have a login for your website. If you have somebody who's a webmaster for you, they'll know what to do. What you want to do is just explain to them how to grab the HTML. They'll all be set. On your website, you have the ability to edit your content. So you want to look for your content editor, and that would be the same if you were setting up your blog or anything like that. And you can see that all the information is here, just like I showed. All the charts are down here and everything. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and I'm going to press Enter a few times, and I'm going to put in that HTML. And I'm going to show you the wrong way first. I'm going to right-click and click on Paste, and you can see it came out in gibberish. This is the HTML code. I don't want that. That doesn't look very nice, right? So I'm going to remove that, delete it. And now I have this button here called HTML. On your content editor, it's either going to be called HTML or Source View. And I'm saying Source, S-O-U-R-C-E. And so if I click on that, then my whole page is gibberish. So again, I want to scroll down to the bottom, press Enter a few times, and now I can right-click and paste that information in, and I have the same gibberish as above. I don't want to touch anything because I don't know enough HTML I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to go ahead and come back to the English view, this Design button, and now right below How to Read a Market Gauge, I now have that new chart. So now I have English, so I can type in whatever I want. I can add in a title. I could explain something. So here I might have, you know, 5-year appreciation value, and you can add whatever you want. And depending upon your content editor, you know, if you have information in here, you can change the font size or the font type. You can bold, you can underline, you can do whatever you want with these different options up here. So again, it depends upon your content editor how much information you want. The biggest thing is you want to find where this little HTML button is to be able to bring the information back. Okay, so it was super easy to do, and you go, well, all right, Margaret, I go ahead and have this option. What's this other option for? Well, if you were writing a blog and you were going to write about December, and December's 5-year appreciation was X%, and December this, and December that, and December this. If you're going to type stuff like that in your blog, that's when you would use the fixed date range version. And what happens is the chart would not change for you. So auto update is the default because 95% of the time people are putting stuff out on the website. But that 5% of the time when you're going to write a blog article, then go ahead and use this other option. Okay? So that's the best way to do it. So if they're on the website, like I said, they're going to have some interactive capability. Here's one I did, the appreciation of homes current year versus last year. They can turn one of these on and off if they want. They can hover over the data points to see the values. I embedded some gauges down here, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Super easy to do. And I had a couple of charts over here. I showed, I was demoing this for the Las Vegas area, and their median prices, they hit bottom back here in 2011, late December 2011. And you can see how they're really recovering. So I used a 5-year line chart to show the trend, and also because it shows where it was 5 years ago, where it is today. And I did this by bedroom so that people could see what the appreciation was for this and be able to look at it. And then purchasing power, we talked about this. Here's the 1 bedroom, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 or more to be able to hover over the different data points. And remember, they have the flexibility, so if something's too expensive, they can turn it off, or if they have 3 kids and 1 bedroom is not enough, they can turn things off so they can see it. If they made a mistake, they can just click on those options again to be able to see it. Super easy to be able to get the information in. I had one here for price of commuting to compare different areas, and I'll go over that with you in a second on the charts. So a lot of good information to be able to bring things in. I have a couple of sample areas over here on our site, so I wanted to point a few things out. If you are setting up a website, you might want to include these 3 tips, and you don't have to make them as prominent as I did so that you could read them on the webinar, but you have hover over bars so that you can see the values, click on an item in the legend, and also that the chart automatically updates on the 10th of each month so they know to come back. So again, here's a buying power one. I set one up for Rockville. Rockville has 5 zip codes. I'm physically there, located there. And so a person can look at the values based upon the 5 zip codes or all of Montgomery County. And again, they can hover over ones, they can turn ones on and off. So great flexibility. Very much like I already demonstrated, I did the buying power in Montgomery County bedrooms versus baths. This is the small size, so I was able to put two charts side by side. The one up here is large, and these are the small version. So I could turn things on and off if I wanted to look at something and hover over the different data points. So again, there's interactive capability that your client and customer has. I did a couple of gauges to break it up so it's not all just about charts. I did appreciation and depreciation. Notice I used both words in this because I have a set it and forget it. I don't know if the market's going to make a turn. So because of that, I put both words there because what if the price actually drops below the previous year? So here I chose a couple of years, not all 5. And then I have a chart here about obtaining the right price for your home. Days on market, 100% of list price, and then it goes down, 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 down here, 6 months, 91%. So want to be able to show them these things so that they know how to price they need to price their home correctly in order to get it. Or if they're a buyer, the bargains might be there with houses that have been on the market a little bit longer. So this is a great way to be able to introduce things to people. So these are just some sample things, and like I said, everybody has a website with property search and finance tools and contact me, but you usually have these options. I'm using the exact site with MRIS, and they have it so that you can add a couple of different pages. So we have definitely a couple of different samples here. You could look at it at any time. Here's one where I showed the detached townhouses and condo co-ops, and then I did purchasing power by bedrooms, another appreciation chart, and here I posted one as ROI on home improvement, and I used the bathrooms, for finishing off that bathroom. So a lot of different ways to be able to show you the information here to embed it on a site. If you were going to just do a traditional newsletter and wanted to be able to grab this information, we do have print export, and you view a graph as a ping. A ping is years ago everything were JPEGs, now everything's a ping. PNG is a HTML friendly, so if I right click on this chart and copy my image, I can take this to my email. I came over here and maybe I created an e-newsletter, and I can put in text and type some stuff in and things like that, but then I can just right click here and paste that image in. So I can take these charts, they're super portable, you can take them anywhere. If you were going on a listing presentation, you can put them in PowerPoint, or if you were creating an open house flyer, you could put them in Microsoft Word. So everything on our site is super easy to use. I hope you notice I really haven't typed anywhere. The only time I typed was with Facebook and with email, right, or on my website. But with our site itself, we have it so it's super easy for you to be able to use. We have these 3 great functions that allow you to take the information out and gives you great portability. So what other things could you do? I showed you some appreciation and depreciation. Here's compared to another geo. People want to know the price of commute. Choose the 270 corridor, and I could use a couple of zip codes, maybe in Bethesda, and then I want to use Montgomery County overall, and then maybe I want to go a little further up, 270, 20874 for Germantown, and then maybe Frederick County to be able to show the price and the cost of commuting. Because people want to know where they want to be able to live, and if people are new, like from Kansas or something, they have no idea what the cost, where they want to live, Virginia, Maryland, things like that, and the cost of commuting. But here you can see like Bethesda is actually more expensive than D.C. So if the person was working in D.C., and they might want to actually live in D.C. compared to, say, Bethesda, because if you have to add in the cost of commuting, it might not be worthwhile for them. Or if they're coming in all the way from Frederick County or Germantown, the cost of housing is a lot less, but the cost of sitting on 270 every morning and every evening is a lot. So you could post these very, very easily on your website or with social media. So again, mixing and matching different things like this, I can make it a little bit more impactful, 3 months in my bar view. And I could add in, I can do zip codes, combinations. You could do one maybe for 270 and one for 66 in Virginia, down 95, whether you're in the Baltimore area or maybe down by Fredericksburg. You could have any major artery or even local roads to be able to show to people what's going on as far as getting into a particular area. So compare to past and compare to geo are great functions to be able to give you a lot of flexibility to give on your social media campaigns. Average days on market, set people's expectations. People don't know if one thing is selling faster or slower than another. I could do maybe by home type here. Detached homes are taking longer than condos and co-ops. The other thing is you could talk to them about average days on market. I look at this. I'm going to take all three of these off a second. I look at all, and my average days on market is 36 days, but I go and look at median days on market, and it's only 18 days. My median days on market, half the houses in D.C. sold in less than 18 days. Half sold in more than 18 days. So the median value is 18, whereas the average value is 36, because usually there's a few properties in there that take a year or two to sell, and they get put into the average. So sometimes using the median value gives you a little bit more option from that standpoint. But set people's expectations. It might be bank mediated. Maybe they want to know how quickly a short sale sells versus foreclosures versus non-bank mediated. So again, you want to be able to show them the statistics, to show them what's going on in the market, or to compare to another area. Average sold to original list price ratio. I actually love this one by the days on market. I had it on the website because it really shows people what can happen when time goes by and what happens to their list price. I'm going to switch it to the 3-year view. That's what I had on the website to be able to show the information here. And you can see the longer a property sits on the market, the less money they're going to get for the most part. We had a couple of trends here where it actually went up. It could be due to for a variety of reasons, and you might want to check on that in matrix and stuff. But most areas trending all tend to show a downward trend. I mean, I could show this again back to 1 year, and you can see they all slope down, they slope down, they slope down. A couple of spikes with this upper level based upon that, but it could be for a variety of reasons. But it's a great way to show people what they might be able to offer, as well as for those prospective home sellers about pricing their home correctly. Right? So these 4 charts are all available from that standpoint. Easy use of share and embed. From a website standpoint, the charts are available to embed as well. You can choose any one of the ones that are on here, maybe a median sale price. Grab the HTML in the same way, right-click on it and copy it. It has the auto-update versus keep current date for a blog, so you can grab each one of those and put that on a website as well. The other things I want to show you about being able to share is the information here about videos. Most people come to this page, they play the videos, but they don't realize down here we have the same options here to embed the video. If you've never played one of our videos, we do these for the 9 different regions. They're updated by the 20th of every month. And what happens is they're 2 minutes little plays of, there's music and there's voiceover to explain what's going on in the market. They're awesome to be able to share with your customers. And from that standpoint, you can, again, choose the size of them, embed them in a website. I'll show you how we did the one here. We did it under Market Stats, and we had one here embedded for the Northern Virginia Market Watch. So again, we have the video, and again, I've told people that it would update on the 20th of each month so that they would come back. A little play button shows them different information. We do stuff, maybe unemployment statistics and stuff. The other thing that I want to point out about our site is that you also can use our blog. If you don't follow us on Twitter or Facebook, but you probably want to know when we post stuff. On the 10th of every month, we always post the DC and metro area articles. And these are great to share with your clients and customers. Again, if you read one of these, you can use Twitter and Facebook to get them out real quick, or you can just grab the URL and put it in an e-newsletter or send it out to your clients and customers through email. But we go through the trouble of explaining what's going on. Like 2 months ago, we had an article about the impact of the shutdown, the government shutdown. You can see this big red bar here, and that was due to the shutdown back in September. It took a couple of months for it to take effect, but now things are starting to come back up again. So again, you want to be able to look at some of this information and share the articles. And like I said, we always have at least 2 articles per month, but we also have usually a specialty article once a quarter. So here's that article, like I said, about the Fed shutdown. So don't forget to look at some of this information and look to see what's going on. Here was a specialty article about cash sales, right? So it shows a little bit of information here. And like I said, you can click on the details. We have lots of good information in here, some the charts and everything that you can then take with Twitter and Facebook and the URL itself. So please don't forget the information that's associated with that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn off the recording, and then I'm going to start answering some more questions. Okay. Hold on just a second.